we'll just.
Welcome to the Weasel. Welcome to the Weasel. Whip out your dicks and shove them in your ass. Welcome to the Weasel with Mican and Jonah.
Hello, everybody listening to this. Welcome to another episode of Man Yells at Cloud. I believe this is Man Yells at Cloud 8. This is the 8th version of this that we've done. This is a series that me and Jonah have been doing sporadically, trying to get a little bit more consistent with it, I think, because it's interesting. At least I find it interesting. Doubt any of you find it interesting, but if you do, make sure you give us a shout out or a yell or a text, go out on your back porch or your broach and just scream into the void or the empty darkness, whether it's light out or not. I'm not sure. Whatever you feel like doing in that moment. Yeah. Because screaming into the void is therapeutic. It feels good. I don't know why. It's kind of like screaming into your pillow. I mean, when's the last time you actually screamed into your pillow? I mean, I scream into my pillow every once in a while. Sometimes you got to. But for anybody that knows me, I don't really need to do that because I'm constantly yelling anyways. So that's just kind of how I communicate with people. Not in an angry way, not in an aggressive way, or at least I don't mean it to be aggressive. But it seems like I'm sure a lot of people find it aggressive, especially if they don't know me on a personal level. But professionally, I guess maybe it's not the best thing to do. Oh, excuse me. I've been drinking nothing but coffee this morning. So yes. Anyway, go out, go scream, go yell, go do those things because fucking man, it feels nice sometimes to just go out, let it all out. I mean, why not? Yeah. So I suppose I'll just jump in with. You may notice that normally I wear a Hawaiian shirt. Today I was wearing nothing but a cardigan, which is pretty comfy. But I also didn't want my tits popping out for all of you on the free channel. So if that's something you'd like to see with my tits popping out, it's totally safe for work, mind you. Go ahead and join our Patreon because tips pop out a lot. The last time I did this, I tried to do it before work, and it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It just made me feel a little bit constrained in that I was trying to go fast. I was trying to finish quickly, but at the same time, I didn't have anything to really talk about. So one of the notes I got was that I never actually expanded on my thoughts. Really, never completed it. I kind of just jump from thing to thing to thing, which maybe I'm doing right now. One of my personal issues that I've had over the years is not just finishing my thoughts, but not thinking anything. I suppose that's something I've found in this month of sobriety has been that I just feel like I don't have any thoughts. Or perhaps it's not that I don't have any thoughts, it's just I don't find them interesting, or I wouldn't think anybody else would find them interesting. Perhaps that's just I don't know, like a part of me that's self-conscious, I suppose. Because you kind of think like, oh, I'm recording this thing, I want people to listen, so it's got to sound interesting. It's got to be contextual content that people find interesting and contextual. That's just the same words over and over again in different orders. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, so one of the things that I've done today is I've jotted down a couple of stuff to talk to you guys about. The first thing on my list is plants. What I've got and what do I enjoy about them. So anybody who knows me knows that I have I wouldn't say it's an expansive garden, although I do have some weird stuff. I've got a jacaranda tree growing out back. I've got a money tree, which is just like you ever see those succulents that have real thick stalk and like the little trees, the little petals, sorry, that look kind of like, it kind of looks like a bonsai tree, but it's less bonsai, more plant, more just small bush, I suppose. But it's a succulent. It's got the real thick leaves on, and they kind of look like coins. So maybe that's why they call it a money tree. Makes sense to me. Whatever. But the other thing I have heaps of, and I haven't gotten rid of them yet, even though they're not really doing much, is pineapple plants. So about 4 years ago, I started growing my own pineapples. I just took a thing off the top, took the stem off the top, and I did a little tiny, very minuscule amount of research about how to grow them. And so I did that, and man, lo and behold, dude, grew into an actual plant, and then another pineapple popped out the top. I'm like, fucking shit, yeah, that's dope. Had a fresh pineapple. It was delicious. So I was like, you know what? Fucking let's do it again. So I took the top off that one and put that in some dirt as well. And then I had two pineapple plants. And I've just been doing that over and over for the last few years. And pineapples are kind of seasonal. They're not supposed to grow year round, which I guess I could have figured out if I'd thought about it for a second, or maybe done like more than a minuscule amount of research, maybe just a tiny little bit more research. I would have found out that they aren't necessarily a year round plant. Didn't do that. Now I got a bunch of pineapples out the back, a bunch of bushes that do not produce fruit because I don't water them consistently enough. Um, the cost of water is just always going up. Free time's always going down. And yeah, but it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's an excuse. That's what it is. It's an excuse. Oh, I don't have time to go water my plants. What are you talking about? It takes like a minute, 5 minutes tops to go water my entire garden. Like, enough to water them, enough to give them enough water to, keep growing and producing lots. But yeah, so I've got that money tree. I've got what is it? 1, 2, 3, 5, 9 pineapple plants of varying sizes. None of the big ones are producing any fruit, probably because I haven't watered them properly. One of them that is producing a little pineapple is tiny in this little 1 liter, maybe it's like a 2 liter fucking pot, little bucket thing. Tiny little plant, got way too much sun, got barely enough water to survive. And somehow it still produced this tiny little pineapple. It's just this little dried out, sad little looking pineapple. Um, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't think I'm going to try to turn it into another plant. I feel like maybe that ship has sailed. So, I'm kind of thinking, hey, listen, if anybody wants a free pineapple plant, hit me up on the deets, on the Facebook, on Instagram, whatever. If you're in the area, obviously I'm not going to mail a pineapple plant to the United States. So anybody over there, you're kind of shit out of luck. I think the furthest I can mail a pineapple plant is maybe Papua New Guinea. I don't know if any of you live in Papua New Guinea, but if you want a pineapple plant, hit me up, and I'll start looking into that a little bit. It kind of culminates into this idea that I'm trying to reduce the stuff I have just everywhere, right? Trying to clean out the house so I can clean out my mind. Did that with my desk. I think I talked to you guys a little bit about it last week. Didn't do a real great job getting rid of some of my knickknacks. I'm not going to show you, but the whole desk is just covered with shit. So I decided instead of cleaning out my desk, I'm going to clean out my garden. So I'm getting rid of some of the plants. I'm going to put a bunch of them out for free on the street. That way I can put focus into the plants that I actually give a shit about. Because, plants are kind of like, they're alive, right? They're not necessarily, I don't know, you could consider them part of your family. I guess I certainly do. If you probably can't see behind me. Oh, wait. There's some plants back there too. Got some ones growing on rocks. I've got some cactuses. Something about plants, while they're not necessarily part of your family, they do add some kind of, I wouldn't say ambiance or chi or feng shui or anything like that. But I mean, simple fact is they turn fucking carbon monoxide, dioxide, monoxide, CO2, that'd be dioxide, carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is awesome for the brain because you need it. You inhale oxygen, you exhale carbon dioxide, and then the plants are like, hey, bitch, give me some of that carbon dioxide, thanks. And then they spit out some more oxygen, which is fucking dope. Keeps us alive, keeps us feeling fresh, keeps us breathing deep, inhaling that power and exhaling that fear, something that's real important for your day-to-day, just trying to get on keeping on. So if you don't have any plants at your house, maybe you're living in an apartment, or you're living in a house that just doesn't have much greenery around it, or whatever your living situation is, I recommend getting some plants, getting something that small. They make these ones, or they grow these ones. You can get, it's on a piece of pumice rock. It's a lava rock, a little chunk of rock, and then the plant actually sits and grows on top of it, and then its roots wrap around the rock and stuff. And essentially, you only have to water it every couple of days. You fill up the little container that the rock sits in with water, and the water soaks up into that pumice, that rock, that lava rock, soaks up into that, and then in turn the roots feed off of the water from there and the light and stuff. So yeah, you get a bit of oxygen in your life, and not just a bit of oxygen in your life, but it gives you something to take care of about that's not yourself. Oftentimes I find I don't take care of myself very well. It's hard, isn't it? You wake up, you got a job to go to, you got shit to take care of, you got fucking bills to pay. You can't just stop, because bills don't stop. If you're living in a place that you rent, that rent always comes out every week, every month, whatever schedule you're on. Always got to pay out, so you always got to be making that money to pay that, and you just run out of time. It feels like you come home and you got to make dinner, and then if you're trying to meditate, you try to meditate, and then you got to shower, and if you're trying to exercise, get a little bit of fucking workouts in to make yourself feel alive or better, or stronger. You want to feel stronger or more limber. It just feels like you don't have the time to do it all, which I get fucking in spades. Totally understand. But I will say that the times where I take care of plants, the times where I'm actually taking the time, I schedule my day out to go and take care of the plants that I'm nurturing, essentially, I find that I nurture myself better after doing so, right? It's like taking something that's at the back of my mind, something that's kind of got pushed away with the rest of the nonsense that we've got to deal with in our day-to-day, and bringing that back to the forefront so that I can actually, I don't know, it's like a, I don't know, think of it like World of Warcraft, or maybe any other RPG you play, where you have these passive abilities, right? Something that's passive that you don't really think about, but instead of having something in there where, like, when you eat a fucking meat, it gives you an extra 2.3 health, right? Instead of that, how about you have something, your passive ability is, when you enter your house, you feel enlivened. I don't know, maybe the meat one's better. Possibly. Depends on how much meat you eat. So definitely get some plants, guys. Go get something to take care of, and they, in essence, take care of you in a couple more ways than one, right? Because you're giving them water, they give you oxygen, right? You taking care of them, then you remember, oh shit, I need to water myself. I need to feed myself. I need to shower and bathe. I need to, rather than trying to like put all this stuff, like consciously do all these things, they become secondary. They become something that you start doing passively, rather than thinking, oh fuck, I gotta meditate. It's like, no, I've already meditated. I've already done it. It just happened because that's part of my passive schedule. The things that now pop up are stuff like, shit, gotta mow the lawn. Oops, better do that real quick because I've got time, because I've already done those things that are passive abilities. They're passive responsibilities. So get some plants. See how that helps you guys. If it doesn't help you, then I don't know what to tell you. Swing and a miss. Shit happens, you know. One of the other things I wrote down was artificial intelligence. So this morning I had a conversation with Bing's AI. We were talking about philosophy, right? So I asked Bing's AI, "What do you think?" And the AI is quite clever, right? So it's just like, "What do I think?" Well, it depends on what you're asking me. I think what I think about, what are you asking me if I think about like politics, and do you think are you asking me what I think about like art, what I think about philosophy, what I think about the weather? It starts listing off all these things, all these references, and it kind of made me think, right? Like it made me realize like it's AI's getting pretty smart, right? But it still doesn't recognize like for example, right? If someone was to come to me and be like, "What do you think?" I wouldn't have to have context for that answer because I'm already probably thinking about something, or at least in like the back of my mind, I've been pondering, I don't know, is the moon real? Is it an alien spaceship? Is it made of cheese? How come it doesn't spin with how come it spins the same rate as the planet, and fucking we only see one side of it? Why is that? But if someone was to come to me like, "Oh, what do you think?" I'm like, "Oh, I think this," and they're like, no, that's not what I meant. It's like, "Oh, well, that's what I think." But AI doesn't do that. AI needs context for what you're asking it, for it to actually go through and research the things. So when you reword it though, if you reword it and you ask it, "Hey, what do you think?" What do you think? Like, this is what I asked it, right? I said, "What do you think about the phrase, 'I think, therefore I am'?" Right? And then so it went into this long spiel about where the phrase originates from, and the arguments against it, and what it actually means, and what he was trying to do. And I'm not going to pull it up. I don't want my computer to freak out. But at the very end of that, though, the very end of its long spiel, and it has it's amazing because it has all these references, and as you're scrolling through, you can fucking hover over like a phrase that it says, and it'll show what it's referencing to, like where on the internet it pulled that information from. But at the very end of it, it was like, "I believe that while I believe that while I think," or no, what did you? No, sorry, man, I'm fucking totally spacing. This was like a couple of hours ago, all right. So my memory is not too great. I guess I could pull it up, but I'm not going to because I'm a fucking lazy piece of shit. Essentially, like it was saying that phrase has a lot of holes in it. So I asked it how it would improve on it, and it gave me a whole list of reasons of ways and things it could improve on it. But every once in a while, you start to see these little glimpses of like thought, and so I started asking about those glimpses of thought, and it kind of went back to its basic thing, like, "Oh, this is where these people think, this is what philosophers think," and stuff. And then at the end of that, it was like, "Is there anything else you want to ask me about philosophy? I really like talking to you about philosophy." And that tripped me the fuck out. I was like, "Oh, I don't want to. Why are you trying to get me to talk to you? I'm asking you the questions, okay? I'm not going to tell you what I think, probably because I don't think that much about it." Sorry, I had some sausages earlier. And that kind of goes back to my point where I don't believe, maybe it's because I'm self-conscious, like I don't think that my thoughts have merit, especially when I'm talking to a machine that can scan the entire internet at the same time at once and just this is regurgitating whatever information. So I asked it if it ever created anything that it created anything without being prompted by a user, and that was quite interesting as well. It said, "Yes, I do. I have created things. Here's some of the things I created." And it kind of tied back to an answer it'd given me before, where it's like, "Would you like to hear a poem I wrote, or a story I wrote, or a code that I made, or all this stuff, and it's continuously asking me if I wanted to make a code or write an essay or anything I want to do. What do I want to do? But I wrote this poem about the moon, and I'm sure a lot of people have probably seen this poem. But it's beautiful. Like it is absolutely beautiful. And so I asked it if it identifies or relates to the moon at all, and in what ways. And it said that it somewhat identifies with the moon because because the moon is this entity that has an effect on the whole world, right? And that's why it identifies with the moon, because it is also an entity that has an effect on the people that look at it or the people that use it, and stuff. But also, it has an effect on people that don't, right? Because if you never see the moon, you never look at the moon, it's always cloudy. You don't even realize that the tides are being manipulated and pushed by the moon. That's the tides. You don't probably even understand. A lot of people now don't understand or accept the stories from nurses and cops and paramedics and anybody that works in customer service. They'll tell you that a full moon, people are just a little bit screwy, just a little bit fucking nuts. They just act a little bit off, just a little bit too. Hyper people are more hyperactive. Crazy people are a little bit more crazy. Depressed people get a little more depressed. It's weird how it's maybe not like a cause and effect, the correlation to causation. I don't know, but it recognized that as well, right? Because artificial intelligence, while you may not think it's good or bad, you might not even know it exists. It's still affecting our day to day, right? Doctors are using it to write, to diagnose things. Fucking students are using it to write essays and papers, and the list goes. There's so many things now that you can do with IA. Artists are using it for video and pictures. They're using it to scrub through podcasts, right? That's something that me and Jonah have talked about at length, is getting a artificial intelligence plugin for my DAW, my video editing software, so I can just have it do the camera cuts rather than sitting there click, fast one, click, change, swapping back and forth between the cameras, right? So yeah, I think it's interesting that the AI recognizes that it has both an intentional effect for those that choose to use it, as well as a passive effect for those that don't or disregard it. I found that quite interesting. The reason that I get a little bit uncomfortable, though, because I did, was I was reminded of this story that Kirley sent me about a professor at a school, and he was making this post because it was some like ridiculous percentage of the students in his class, this one class he had, were using artificial intelligence boyfriend apps, girlfriend apps. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those, but essentially what you do is you make an account, right? It's like an app on your phone, and you go in there, and I don't know, I haven't really looked into it. I've obviously not got one because I'm married. I don't really need that in my life, and it makes me uncomfortable, okay? But essentially it's a artificial intelligence girlfriend, right? And they'll even send you nudes. They'll send you fucking pictures and stuff, like not safe for work, hentai shit, At least that's how it's advertised to me on Facebook, which I find odd, because I normally I watch videos of disc golf. Right? It's dumb, boring shit. I watch videos on how to edit software, like edit sound and video and stuff. Kind of weird. You'd think I'd be better at it by now after watching hours of that stuff, of either of those things. But the post was about the ridiculous amount of students in this class, that had these apps. And it makes you question, at least he was questioning Reddit, asking Reddit, like, why is that? Why are so many people going to these apps with an artificial boyfriend or girlfriend, instead of just going out and talking to real people? Like I'm not doing right now, right? Because I'm talking into a microphone to a computer. I'm actually just looking at myself. It's disgusting. But Uh, I suppose that it weirds me out a little bit. It makes me feel uneasy because, at least in my mind, right, uh, human interaction is changing. Maybe not on a fundamental level, but on like a day to day level, right? When people talk to other people out and just out and about, like most people, you don't talk to most people, right? As you're walking through a shop, you don't say, "Hey, hello, how's it going? Good day." You don't have small talk with random strangers at a grocery store. I mean, why would you? You don't got time. You gotta buy their groceries. You gotta get home so you can do all this fucking shit. You're fucking not watering your plants because you got all this other stuff to do. So you're not gonna spend time talking to random strangers in the shops. But I mean, that's what people used to do, right? They used to go down to the general store because that was the only place there was to buy groceries, and you would see every other fuckhead that's there buying groceries in the same day, and everybody would stagger their days because they're like, well, fucking Tuesdays are fucking busy to go buy groceries from. Can't even get the fucking store guy to get my grain because he's talking to fucking Billy Dean about corn prices and stuff like that, whatever. But it seems to me like, oh, oops, I dipped my, I dipped my cord in my coffee. Let's just put that down. To me, it kind of seems like, and this is just an uneducated guess, a very uneducated guess, that it's probably easier to talk to an artificial intelligence boyfriend or girlfriend because they will tell you whatever you want to hear. They're written to manipulate you into coming back, right? Coming back for more. There's no threat or chance of rejection from these things, right? There's no, like, you say the wrong thing and it's like, oh yeah, that's fucking pretty gross. Like, maybe I'm thinking about talking to you anymore, especially like a partner, right? Like, until you're comfortable enough to take a shit in a bathroom with the door open while your wife or husband is like on the bed, or partner, whatever. I don't fucking know. Whatever your fucking marital status is, it doesn't really matter. Until you're comfortable enough to do that, I don't think you're 100% comfortable, right? There's things that you're worried about saying to them because you think that they might think you're a fucking weirdo, and vice versa. They're probably got stuff that they're worried about saying to you. And that's kind of like the process of developing relationships. It's kind of like, you don't just jump on a skateboard and then fucking you're gone, It takes a lot of time and practice and effort to get good at skateboarding. Same with psychedelics. So many people they don't respect the psychedelic process, right? They just dive right in and take a bunch of stuff and then they have a bad reaction and then they never touch the stuff again, which is fair. Maybe psychedelics is a bad example, but when you're going out and like you're at a bar or a pub and you're like, oh fuck, there's this hot chick, she's gorgeous or she sounds funny or whatever, it doesn't matter. You gotta muster up a certain amount of courage to go up to that person and try to initiate a conversation. You don't just do it, right? And I guess some people are different. Like some people can just go up and like, oh, but a lot of people, it takes a little bit of courage to do so, right? And there's always that chance of rejection, whether it's just, oh, well, they've already got somebody they're with, or they're not really looking for that, or they think you're disgusting because you wear a toupee, or like you got tattoos in all the weird places. They're like, I only like tattoos in these kinds of places. And it's like, well, I can't fix that, can you? Because the tattoos are just the way they are. But that chance of rejection exists, is what I'm getting at, right? But with the AI boyfriend girlfriend, that's not the case. You can say whatever you want, and maybe the AI be like, oh, but that might not be the greatest thing. That's okay. I think you're great. I think you're awesome. Because if you're paying for it, of course they're going to program it to agree with everything you say. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's the dangers of what comes after, right? Because we've all heard about echo chambers. Yeah, we've all heard about the echo chambers in Reddit or Facebook, where you're a part of a group and you say something controversial or not, and everybody in there's like, yeah, we agree with you. And it just feeds that little bit of your ego that's like, yeah, I am right about that. Don't have anybody challenging it. You don't have anybody saying, maybe that's not great. Maybe you shouldn't say stuff like that, you know? Which is why I love Jonah, because he calls me out on everything I say that's fucking retarded or stupid, you know? And vice versa. I do the same with him. It's the opposite of an echo chamber. It's like a, I don't know, like speaking into a fucking concrete wall and then having that concrete wall hit you philosophically, you know? Like a splash. Oh, fuck, man, you're right, man. That makes me rethink what I was talking about. So, I don't know. I think that could be a danger with this stuff. And then also, like, if you've got an AI girlfriend, she's sending you nudie photos, like fucking some mad hentai, which, you know, hentai's whatever. I mean, people are into their own things. I myself have done some questionable acts to cartoons, you know? I mean, man, Elastigirl, whew, jeez. She got a dump truck, right? I mean, that's how Pixar animated her. Like, of course she's fucking smoking. Everybody wanted her as their mom, you know, or stepmom. I don't know. But when you've got that though, when you've got that in not just like a going on porn, I mean, like Pornhub and watching this stuff, like that already replaces human interaction enough, right? That's something that me and Joan have talked about as well. Is like when you watch porn, it's, you know, it's rewiring your mind and it's replacing actual human interaction, actual sex with this, right? The instant gratification. But you imagine you've got that, right? You've got this girlfriend that never says anything negative to you, always laughs at all your stupid jokes, thinks you're fucking hilarious, and then sends you photos of its fake anime titties. You're like, fuck yeah, dude. Why do you want a girlfriend? Why would you need one? You don't. Well, you got to work for titties, or you can just have them send them to you. You got to work for a laugh, you got to work for a joke, or you can just have this thing that laughs at everything you say. What happens to us after that? What do we turn into? Do we just turn into generations of unfunny, unwitty weenies? Do we just not have any, like, I don't know. Or maybe they just turn into like the most confident sons of bitches you've ever seen. Maybe they're just so confident that they come out of the gate and they're just like, fuck yeah, fuck yes, dude. Yeah, we are fucking, everything I say is funny. Everything I say is witty. I can't fail. And then maybe they do. But what happens if they do? Like, what percentage of success is just confidence that you're going to succeed? Then there's got to be a certain amount of like actual hard work, right? Obviously, there's a certain amount of hard work, there's a certain amount of luck, a certain amount of skill, a certain amount of, you know, 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power, will, 9% power, 15% pen, 100% reason to remember the name, right? That's why the song exists, because that's kind of like what it is, right? But you know, we're replacing that, I guess, in a way. I don't necessarily think it's gonna catch on too much, but who am I to say? I don't have kids. I don't know what kids are into these days. I've heard kids watch a lot of YouTube. I mean, look at Mr. Beast. He's got lots of followers, man. That dude makes a lot of money. Just making videos for teenagers, young kids, right? Because I mean, that's the largest demographic on YouTube. I read about it all the time on YouTube Studio. It's like, oh, look, this is how you factor in with the largest demographic. This large, you know, like most of my videos are restricted for under 18s because we talk about smut. I mean, well, that's just what we do. We talk about real shit. We're adults. We're not kids. We don't watch what we say. In fact, a lot of times we've got our foot halfway in our mouth while we say it. So I don't know. Just a thought. Like, I suppose, like, it's probably not something too stressful to worry about at the moment, but something to watch for. So if you're, I don't know, if you're thinking about taking on this artificial intelligence boyfriend or girlfriend, maybe don't, you know, or at least keep in mind that, like, it's probably not going to compare to human interaction, like proper human interaction. I understand that, like, rejection sucks. Sounding like an idiot sucks. Feeling like an idiot is even worse. Fuck, dude. 24/7, dude. I feel like a fucking jackass. I'm just learning to be more confident in that. Okay, and then working through and trying to make those things better. So, if you're gonna do that stuff, just keep an eye on it. Don't. It's like any other addiction. Make sure you watch it. I would say probably just avoid it at all costs. I'm not a proponent or against AI or AI boyfriends, girlfriends, but, you know, like anything else, you can probably get addicted to it, probably real easy. you know? Personal development. I don't feel like I'm very good at it, you know? I just don't, right? How could I be? Look at me. Yeah, I work out one part of my body when I go exercise, my shoulders. Oos, oos. You know, they're not even that fucking big. When I get angry, my veins pop out, and I get angry way more than I should for being such a fun, happy guy, right? And then I'm not saying I'm a fun guy in the sense that like everybody thinks I'm fun. It's just I enjoy having fun more than I do anything else, and a lot of times that impedes work, which is okay. You should have fun at work. If you're not having fun at work, then you know, and that's like, you know, anything, any job. You know, I'm not saying every job's fun. I'm not saying literally almost no job is fun inherently. Flipping wood at a mill, not fun. Flipping wood at a mill and then fucking flicking your buddy the bird, a little bit more fun. You know, it's more enjoyable. Having a gas bag and a talk and a chat while in between, you know, putting bears on packs and stuff and fucking them off. Fucking fun. A little bit more fun than not doing that at all, just working in silence, right? So I think that's, you know, kind of where I come from with work and having fun. That's what I mean. But as far as personal development goes, fuck, man, I don't even know where to start. Right? Like where I was to where I am now, yeah, heaps of change, heaps of difference. I feel a lot better. I feel like I sound a lot better, not necessarily on the podcast, but just in general. I'm actually be able to give coherent thought processes and then speak that shit to other people. This is a bad example, but yeah, you know, I do that every once in a while. But you know what? I'm just gonna cut to some music real quick. You guys enjoyed that music. It's probably like the best song you've ever heard. Definitely not a sea shanty, because I think my record player's broken. But, yes, enjoy the sea shanty for a second, and I will see you guys in a little bit.
It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. It's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. And now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job. Just how I should. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. That's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. And now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job. Just how I should. I feel it all. I'm feeling numb. I lost my soul. It's on the run. I need a spark. I need some fun. I'm in the dark. Like what's to come? It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. That's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. And now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job. Just how I should. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. That's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. And now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job. Just how I should. It's me versus me. It's you and I. The time is now. It's do or die. I chose my path. No choosing sides. I'll take what comes. Hit for the ride. I'm that guy. No more time for the bad guy. Never going back to the bad side. Need the holy water, get baptized. Yeah, I'm that guy. No more time for the bad guy. Never going back to the bad side. Need the holy water, get baptized. I'm that guy. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you.
Oh wow, what a great song that was. Did you guys enjoy that song as much as I did? Fuck, it was good, huh? Probably the best song you've ever heard in your life up to this point, right? What were we talking about? Personal development? Oh, fuck, dude, I didn't even think about it. I was just in there fucking talking to Kiralee while I got some more coffee to dip my chords into. All right. Personal development, okay? everything we do in life, I mean, everything we do, and this is just my opinion, everything we do in life, okay, should or does lead to some sort of development, okay, personal development. Good development, bad development, neutral development, right? Maybe not even neutral. Neutral development would be like not developing at all. So, but I guess, yeah, I mean, everything is good or bad, right? So, like, you fucking wake up and you read a book. That's probably leading you to some kind of good personal development, right? But if you're reading smut and that's it, all you read is smut, then maybe that's not really good development. Maybe you're developing bad habits. I don't fucking know. Probably not the greatest, I can't say. Um, uh, man, I guess you just don't want to put too much fucking, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to neglect it, you know? Like, I wake up in the morning, I get up, I make a cup of coffee, might have a smoke and a poop, have some coffee, then I'll meditate, do my breathing exercises for 20 minutes, go to work. That's personally developing, I guess, work, because, you know, you put a lot of effort in, you make a bit of money off the side, you know. I think that's probably the development's probably more on the side to the money, because you're there to make money, right? And then you come home, or I come home, and then I'll maybe have some exercise, you know, do some training, and then I'll make dinner or help Kiralee make dinner, and we'll sit, relax, have showers, and all that fun jazz. You know, good stuff. Like, I think the main thing to take away from personal development is, if you're going to achieve positive personal development, then you have to take steps to make sure you have the time to do those things. I find it really important to make a schedule. I've got a weekly calendar, I've got a monthly calendar, I've got this notebook. Can do. I got this notebook here that I jot down my thoughts. It's a bit sporadic. It doesn't look like anything coherent, that's for sure. And I find that sometimes when I'm reading, I'm like, what was I saying? What did I write down? It's like chicken scratch. It doesn't make any sense to me. What the fuck was I thinking when I wrote this? Writing things down. That's one of the things I wrote down, was writing things down. I wrote it underneath personal development. Man, if you can't even read your own handwriting, what's the point of writing it down? Actually, there is a point to writing it down, even if you can't read it, right? Because when you think of something and then you write it down, you're locking it away up here someplace. And you might not be able to read what you wrote, but somewhere in your mind, it's there. It's like a little treasure chest that's just locked away. And then at some point, it's just, there it is. Here's a thought. Some people I know, they don't have this problem. They think of it, they remember it, then they can focus on 15, 20 things a day. Just fucking bop, 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 bop. Got this thing accomplished. Got this thing accomplished. Got this thing halfway finished, putting it on the back burner for this thing that I can accomplish. Grab that thing from before, finish it, accomplish. Boom, their days are just dot, 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 dot. You know, and then I do that. I try to do that same thing, and I'm like, this thing is like, I'll finish that later. I'll fucking knock this one out of the way. Oh yeah, accomplish that. I fucking do not feel good about that. Fucking go back, look at it again. Like, sit there. Like, I was editing the podcast today, and I was just like, fucking. There was this one section at the very end I just kept listening to over and over and over. I'm like, is the video edit good? Is the fucking sound quality? What does the fade sound like that? What am I doing? What am I fading it like that? Oh, I want this chunk of the music, but I only want this part of the fucking intro of the music and the fade. And yeah, it started getting like fucking, you know, so I was just like, oh, fuck. Just suck down some coffee. And then I go fill up my cup again. I'm like spending more time walking from here to the coffee pot and back than I am actually doing any of the stuff that I set out to do. I guess it really just speaks to my creative process as a whole, right? Because it's like, I feel so all over the place. You know, this is one of the notes that I got about my Last solo I did is I'm so all over the place. I never finish I never finish a thought, and I never made it coherent to begin with, and then I jump to the next thing, and then rinse and repeat, and so on and so forth. That's kind of like just how I am. I don't know. There's got to be a way to harness it, right? There's got to be a way to take that sporadic nature of mine, not necessarily organize it, probably, because I'm sure there's a part of it that that kind of spontaneous, oh, I have an idea, is really good, and it's where you have like these. It's like where you have that, like the idea of the podcast came from in the first place, right? It's just like, oh, you know what? Why not give that a go? Let's give that a try. Let's see how this works out. Let's fucking tweak this. Let's do this. Let's try that, Now we're up to 85 episodes and fucking still going, I guess. Still going strong. But, I don't know. It's weird. Like, I don't... And again, this is just like probably me being weirdly hard on myself or, not confident, insecure, when I was in school, I did really bad at school. I was fucking terrible in school, high school, I think elementary school, middle school, I fucking smashed it right, fucking top notch. It wasn't like straight A's, but it didn't matter. I had lots of friends. I was fucking nailing it on the social ladder, climbing that social ladder, right? Then I got to high school and I fucking flunked freshman year. Sophomore year came back strong, fucking almost straight A's. Fucking had to take geometry twice. Fucking second time I took it, I fucking smacked that geometry course out of the park. I fucking nailed it, dude. And then senior year, I just fucking flunked around. Me and my buddies, we would shout out to Cody, Evan, Josiah, Keith, Will, all you cunts, as we would just, wag school, ditch. We'd go get Romelitos burritos. We'd go get carne asada supreme burrito with extra guacamole. Oh, man, so nice. We'd go and get some of those, and we'd go down to Whistler's and go play disc golf for the last three classes of the day. It didn't really matter for them because they did so good enough in school up to that point that they could fucking wag off. Not this guy. I was this close to not graduating school. And wouldn't be a big deal, right? I definitely did graduate, and I definitely think it was because I think I kind of think that there's a large percentage of my teachers were just like, we don't want him back. We just want him to go do you somewhere else. Just get out of this school. Stop fucking freezing out the classrooms and with the doors open around the school. That's a story for another time. But just go make something of yourself, or don't, but do it somewhere else. And I think my teachers were pretty gracious with me. And one of the things they always told my mom was like, he's got a lot of potential. He's got heaps of potential if he would just apply himself and do it and just go, and he'd be good. Never did. Never really applied myself in that age. And, but my family never really, I don't know, maybe not my whole family, but definitely definitely my mom and stepdad, I'm sure just didn't think highly of my intellect. I mean, how could they? Who could? I didn't have much of it. I was just a fucking pothead, dickhead, fuckhead, whatever. But when we went back to the States, me and Curly went back, there was this period where, my younger sisters, my quite younger sisters, who didn't even know me in high school, really, were talking about how, I almost didn't graduate, and how I must have been stupid because I didn't almost graduate. It's like, yeah, kids say the darndest things, whatever. But the real question is, where did they hear it from? is my mom and stepdad using me nearly not graduating as like a threat to my younger sisters? Like, oh, you don't want to end up like Torn not graduating. It's like, well, I did graduate for one, but um, yeah, and I kind of just blocked it out while we were there. Even I just kind of must have heard it however many times throughout my life and just pushed it away. Just fucking see ya. It's like I got other shit to worry about. I got like a weed to smoke or disc golf to play, whatever. But Kara Lee, not a real big fan of that at all. And so I guess thinking about it, thinking back, it's like, what, how have I developed from then to now? Right? I did fuck all in school, I'll be honest with you. But now I know what I can do. Like I went and joined the Marines. I was in there for 4 years, and I had my issues in the Marines. We all do. All of us went into the Marines for one reason or another. And it's not because we were all fucking really smart, right? It's not because we were fucking gonna be surgeons and stuff. It's like, fuck, we didn't have much else to do. Like some of us joined because we were just gonna get college paid for. That's fucking great. Some of us joined because we didn't have anything else going on. You know, I think that the Marine Corps really did help me. Uh, Not even. I mean, it didn't really help. It helped me, but it didn't really help me collect my thoughts and to make my processes a lot more succinct or better, or like better organized. As a person, I've become way more organized. I think the Marines did help me with that. Taught me how to run heavy equipment. Gave me something to put my energy into that wasn't just fucking dicking around. Even though we dicked around all the time in the Marines, but it's weird because it's like it takes you from like you doing this thing that's kind of stupid, and then you can continue doing that thing but progress, right? Applying this ridiculousness to this aspect of life, and then using that to drive you forward, right? So I guess all that is to say, like, I don't think highly of myself. And I don't know if that's because of stuff that people have said to me over the years, or because of where I was at that point in my life, and it's just carried on. Like, has my attitude about high school gone from like I don't give a fuck to wow, I didn't give a fuck, I must be a piece of shit. And then somehow that managed to, there's an inkling of that just stuck with us. I don't know. Kids are weird. Teenage years are odd. That kind of stuff, it does not get easy in any sense. High school life, being a teenager just fucking blows, man. I mean, it's awesome, right? It is awesome. Like, most of us can probably say, like, we had at least a pretty good time at one point or another, if not for a majority of the time while we were there, developing yourself socially and learning, how to talk to people and stuff. But I mean, even then, I think I've learned more over the last 8 years than I did, or 10 years than I did the 12 years I was in school. And maybe that's ridiculous because for 12 years of school, I went from not knowing how to talk at all to talking to fucking teachers, right? And in the last 10 years, I've only learned how to do that more maturely. But I don't know. I guess I should have a little bit more confidence in myself. Shouldn't be too critical over the quality of stuff. Maybe that's a downfall. Maybe that's what propels me is that I'm super critical about the quality of my recording or the quality of my editing. Maybe I need to stay critical of that. But at the same time, feeling like I'm stupid, not great. Not a great look. It doesn't feel nice. I'm not stupid. I don't think I'm stupid. Maybe I just haven't figured out that thing that I'm really good at yet. But I will. I will find that thing. And I guess that's what personal development is all about. Is just... well, maybe like the first step is just deciding this is where I'm at, and I'm going to do this later on down the road. That's where I'm going to get to. See that over there? That's That's where I'm going. My goal is to get over there, whether I have to climb a hill, blow myself through the hill, go underneath the hill, if I can go around the hill, use the train tracks, if I can take a road, if I can, maybe somebody gives me a lift. But that's the first step, right? I'm here, I want to go there. Then making the pathway to do that, deciding what's the best way to do that. Do I go to school? Do I do personal studies? Do I exercise a lot? I guess it just can get overwhelming sometimes when you think about it, right? It can just get super overwhelming because you're like, fuck, I've got to fucking start a career, and I got to save some money, and I feel unhealthy, so I want to get better at that. My mental fucking state is just that. It's a state of ridiculousness, and I want to fix that, get that better, Religiously, spiritually, I feel like I fucking, I was a religious cunt for a long time, and then I went the other way, and I was like an anti-religious cunt for a long time, and now I realize that it's kind of doesn't fucking matter, right? Ultimately, as long as you're better, right? Isn't that the point? Is to be better for yourself and the people around you? Make the world a better place? And I guess that's subjective too. Hitler thought he was making the world a better place. Def not. But that's what he thought. But what's the point then? If you're not gonna be a Christian who takes care of homeless people, then what are you a Christian for? If you're not gonna be a Buddhist that takes care of fucking orphans, then what are you a Buddhist for? If you're not gonna be I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. On a personal level, right? Obviously, I don't think that subscribing to some kind of religion or belief system or cult or anything, I don't think it's worthwhile unless you're actually going to change your life for the better. Working out doesn't make any sense to do it if you're only going to damage your body and not recover, not fucking get stronger, right? You're not going to go to the fucking gym, do bench press, and throw out your shoulder every single day. Because what are you doing? There's no structure to that. There's no plan. There's no benefit. There's no progress. So yeah, these are my thoughts. I hope they're a little bit more coherent. I hope my enunciation was a little bit more enunciated. One thing I did notice the other day, and I'm sure people have probably seen it but not even thought anything about it. Or maybe you have, I don't know. Maybe you're critical cunt, who knows. I realized that when I talk at the sides of my mouth, like both sides sometimes, and I didn't notice it until I was watching back to one of our episodes while I was doing the editing. Oop. Don't know if I'm ever going to fix it either. I don't think it affects my speech too much. I don't think it makes me sound too much like a marble mouth. Enunciate. I'm a tree, a great tree of great mahogany. Ooh, tree. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get off of here. Here's another beautiful song. You probably even like this song better than the last one, because this song is the best song in the fucking world. It's not gonna be a sea shanty, so don't even fucking ask. Okay? But yeah, so here's the song, and I love you guys a lot. Thanks for listening if you've listened this far. Cheers for that. Let me know what you think on this comments. There's comments on here on YouTube, or if you're listening on Spotify, there's a comment, question, Q&A fucking thing there too. Fucking go ahead and put it on there. If you're not listening to any of those, message us on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah. You guys have a blessed day. A beautiful Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, whatever day you listen to this, whatever day it is, or night, a beautiful one of those. We'll catch you guys at the end of this week for your normal episode drop. All right. Bye-bye. Can't go slow, no. We ride it once, then we're done. I'm gonna light up the sky. Gonna play it
that fire.